Okay.
I turned down the lights a little bit because they were too bright for my eyes tonight, so is that going to work?
You can turn them up just a tad, because your face is in the shadow.
Yeah, you know, the light surrounds me. I believe it'll come forward. And my eyes are more important than my light at this point.
Your external light.
Pardon?
Your external light.
You'll see it when we actually look at this video. You're going to go, wow.
She was so bright.
It's radiant. We'll see. Okay. All right, so welcome, and let's go ahead and center like we always do. And breathe. And as always, my breath is going to start you on your exhale, going 1, bringing in your inhale on breath 2. And practice counting that for a minute, and then we'll move on. Just focus on your breath. Exhale is 1. And inhale the divine on 2. And release any discomfort on 1. Breathe in health. Practice your own releasing on 1, and what it is you need to breathe in on 2. As you work your way through your body, or through your day, breathe out, breathe in, until you feel yourself releasing even God and breathing God in. Release disharmony, breathe in clarity, release love, breathe in God. Quietly set your intention for sharing this evening and for the joy and the love of the group. Be present here now. And there is one presence, one divine light that shines in and through me, in and through each and every person here present. And I know that that light is creation, it's joy, it's happiness, it's love. And I know that it is reflected abundantly through each one of us here this evening. And as we go forward over the next couple of hours, I know that the sharing comes from love, that there is joy and laughter, and that all is in divine harmony. All is good. There is only good. Our good, my good, is my God. And I know that this is true, and we release this into the law knowing that it is acted upon, because the law only says yes. And together we say,
And so it is.
Okay, so we have these, the thing that we read last week that was asked that got printed, which was very sweet of them. I look at this and I'm jealous because I'm on such a budget at school that I'll reach my budget every month, and I'm like, oh my God, paper, printing. We steal each other's codes and everything. It's horrible, it really is. They've created a pile of consenting thieves is what they have done. It's kind of like, we know who's got copies left, and so we go to them, and so we say, we just take their code. Anyway, so that's just a little byproduct of my life. You guys don't really need to know. Let's just pass them around. And maybe if you want, we can read them again. I love reading Emma Curtis Hopkins out loud. How many of you have been practicing doing that to see if you can understand her a little better? Has that helped?
Oh, yeah.
I think so too.
I've done that for a long time with Ernest.
Okay.
I get where I've read the same paragraph twice, and I'm like, okay, just read it out loud.
Right. B, did you raise your hand too?
No, I was just agreeing with,
Oh,
you said who had, but
okay.
yes.
All right. Anyone else practice reading Emma out loud for clarity and just to hear the lilt of her writing, because it changes the intent of what she says, I think. When you actually hear it out loud and you add the commas and emphasis and all of that, it changes what you read, I think, personally. So again, tonight we're going to go just briefly, chapter 7, because we only touched at that at the end of last week. 8 and 9, really this class should be a 12-week class and not 8, right? And I really think so. But anything stood out to you in the readings at all? Thank you. Before we continue, is there any questions before we jump in?
Are you talking about, did anything stand out in chapter 7?
No, anything, 7, 8, or 9. That was the reading.
Well, in chapter 7, something that stood out for me was on page 103, where it says, God with them, in them, through them, is the same God from whom we seek to receive the same healing knowledge. That is the secret of healing. The method and words are nothing.
Right?
I thought that was really profound.
It is profound. What does it say to you?
Well, it says that Spirit is working through me, so I don't have to be so strict about using the right words when I'm doing treatment, for instance.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
What it says to me is that it doesn't, on your theme, it doesn't really matter what words you need because Spirit already knows what you need. And so you could say chocolate cake and it would say, no, you need clarity. I mean, whatever. I mean, ridiculous, but.
Mm-hmm. But if you said chocolate cake with passion and love, then is that about the same feeling? Is it?
It can be, depending how desperate I am.
Because, like, we talk about this in the abundance class about the different words and the different feelings, right? Especially around money. Like, we all know what a dollar bill looks like laying in the gutter or on the grass somewhere, and we all go, oh, is that money? Like that. We know that feeling. And if you know that feeling, that's what you can call to you. And so if, love is chocolate cake and you say it with passion, you're going to get a lot of cake, right? But are you going to get a lot of companionship? unless you're.
Unless they like
companion
chocolate
is-
Someone loves chocolate cake.
So I think I think the words for God perhaps don't matter. I mean, I guess we could call God a chocolate chip cookie, but I would like that actually. But, because they're warm and they're loving and they just make you feel good, and that's exactly what Spirit does for me. I start vibrating like I've had too much sugar. Sometimes I break out in a light sweat. I feel warm when I moved like that. Like when I'm up on the platform, I'm like, like that. It's crazy up there. Just talking about it, I'm getting warm. I am, yeah.
It seems to me it's just stating that knowing that God is in the person and in you is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because that's what really heals, but you still say those words, but the words aren't what's healing it.
Right.
It's that knowing and having that feeling. So
Right.
I would still use healing words as opposed to chocolate chip cookie, but it's the feeling and the knowing, I think, is what I see in it.
Okay. Good. Anyone else? And is there anything else? Another reading or comment on this one?
Well, I think this goes, it's the next paragraph down from where read, but the words are simply vehicles of the practitioner's feelings that go out and touch the apparently ailing. To me, that takes a lot of pressure off of when she was earlier saying the right words, you know?
Right.
So, it's the feeling behind it.
So all of these are under guidelines for treatment, is that right? Because like you said, we have different pages in our book.
It's
Um,
under, all methods the same.
Oh, okay.
Do you have the same book as they have, or is yours more like mine?
I think mine is an older edition,
Oh, okay.
and yours in this is different than mine,
Okay.
and I believe different than theirs. Because on that, I would say you are, if I went to,
I'm on page 108,
yeah,
towards the
exactly.
bottom.
No, then we're on different pages too. Okay, anyone else have a reading? Something, a question that came up? Yes, Fran?
So, in that same idea, can we heal with just, or not just, but focused intention
Yes,
through our feelings and our intuition?
yes. I would say yes, and I think that that's where the whole drive for all of this repetition and be aware of who we are, know what we're thinking, be clear in our intentions and thought. I think that's exactly where this is going. And I believe that she addresses that more later in the book. And perhaps even tonight. Yeah? Okay, anything else? All right, so let me make sure that there wasn't any kind of business that I wanted to go over.
Did you know that this is the 7th week?
Yes,
Okay.
there's nine weeks to this class.
Okay.
That the first one was kind of like, let's get it together and figure out where we're going this week.
Okay.
Right, and, do you remember I asked you all that night, do you want to go 9 weeks?
Yes.
And you all said yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. We're still in agreement, you're gonna come for 2 more weeks. All right? Sounds fun to me. So, nothing exists outside of our thoughts. So friend, that goes back to what you're asking. Nothing exists outside of our thoughts. And so if our thoughts and our intents our intent is clear, then according with Emma, And we praise everything because we've recognized that God is everything, that Spirit is everything, and everything is created outside of us with our thoughts, right? There's that cyclical process. Then absolutely, if we're clear in intent, we heal. We heal, I think, eventually it would just be by focusing our thoughts. However, she also says not to have judgment, in that when we see someone, right, and we judge them to be in pain, or we judge them to be poor, or we judge them to be anything, then we recreate that. So there's a fine line there of recognizing illness and the intent to heal the person who is claiming that illness, right? Even more of a vague line in my mind than what we have in Science of Mind. So in Science of Mind, they've kind of broadened it out and made it a little more ambiguous in some ways, even though they say turn away from the condition. He also says, Ernest, oh, I know what I needed to do. I'll get back to that. So he also says acknowledge the condition before you turn away from it, in that sense. That if someone is in pain, that we do say, I understand that you're in pain. But it not necessarily give it credence as to what that pain is, right? I see, or I understand that you're in discomfort, right? But I myself don't believe in discomfort. That's where Emma goes. And that's a tough one. It's kind of like, how do you do that? How do we hold that faith and that belief without, and at the same time, allow people to have the reality of their life, right? Without denying that. So that's kind of like where I'm at. It's kind of like, how do you do that? How do you do that? I can do it in a treatment. It's different for me. But this seems more personal to me. Do you know how we do that? I look to Nina.
How we do it, I don't know how. There's not a how, I don't believe, to do that certain thing.
Okay.
Not, I don't think that it's a teachable thing.
Okay.
It's like a higher level, that you can't really teach that.
Okay. So we each individually learn by experience then?
I believe so.
Okay. Yes?
I think what Nina was saying, it struck me on page 104, which says you're a miracle worker by inherent right. But then it goes on to say, give your free soul the chance to do all your thinking and all your speaking. So it's that within me that somehow if I get to the right place, it's not the words, it's not the eating or not eating, it's if I can get myself to, whether you call it centered or whatever it is, then it's that within me just comes out. And when that happens, it's like, it just feels so good. And other times, I'm forcing it.
And other times you're what?
I'm forcing it. You know,
Right.
if I'm making it happen.
Right.
If I feel it's my responsibility to use the right words.
Right.
And I don't know how to explain it either, because sometimes I guess you could call it in the zone, and other times, no matter what I do, I just don't seem to be able to get there.
Right.
And where is that where you were talking at?
I don't know, it's 104 in the book.
What section is it under? Because my
it's
pages are
in-
different.
Is that still
It's
all methods are the
guidelines for
same?
treatment.
I don't see it in 104.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not
You're in-
104 for our book.
Okay.
Well, it's this book.
It is that book, okay.
Yeah, it's 106 for mine.
Okay.
I have the same book, but it's.
So she also says, though, right above all methods are the same,
It's on 102.
she's, on my 104 is all methods are the same.
Oh,
And
under one. I'll let it.
Breezy, for
So
you,
we've all got different books.
that would
No
be,
wonder.
Which paragraph is it down on that one?
You need not worry about whether you should speak.
that doesn't tell me what number paragraph it
You're
is.
in page 102, right above,
Oh, it's the second paragraph.
It's right above all methods the same.
Second
Eight.
paragraph.
Okay,
Right
1,
here.
okay.
2, 7.
I'm going to be talking about, remember, there is no reality in disease or imperfection, whatever. When you realize this strongly, I hope you won't treat anyone, for this realization itself is treatment.
Right.
Yes.
And where is
I have
that?
that started.
Right
That's
above all
on page,
methods
on- I
and
believe
Next
it's on
two
your
paragraphs.
102.
It's the next one. Next
Gotcha,
two.
okay.
Right above all methods are the same.
So it starts remember.
Oh, that one, yes, that one's
Yeah.
already marked, yeah.
Okay, so it almost seems contradictory. She's telling us to get it right, exactly right, and then at the same time, she's telling us that if we've practiced and we have repeated this until it's in our subconscious and we know it to be true and it pops out before anything else, that when we encounter someone who say, I am sick, we know them to be in perfect health and we can just accept that for them, and that would be the healing.
So, I'm thinking about this and trying to equate it to stuff that I've done in the past. And I've worked a lot with people with schizophrenia and thinking about the fact that, like I learned early on, do not challenge the belief. Like, has nothing to do with what you're actually working with the person, and it's not going to work and you're going to become not helpful. So, so thinking about like when they would have one and safety was a big issue, and if I would try to convince her the things that she was believing were not necessarily true, then I became part of the problem in trying to make her unsafe.
Right.
However, if I would work towards what do you need to be safe and talk about like creating a safe environment, and I knew she was safe, like I knew she was safe and nothing was going, things that she thought weren't going to happen to her because I knew that.
Right.
So thinking about it this way, if I view kind of the same, like those beliefs as delusional and not true, then I go to like, well, this is my reality and my reality is this, but I don't have to convince you of my reality. I have to just talk to you about how do I get you in alignment with my reality.
Or help you see a different reality.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like a different,
Right.
yeah, because it's not the same.
Well, and that was a challenge for me in chapter 7, because she talked about just healing people. Someone thinks that they're ill and you know that they're not, and so for that moment they may be healed, but if they believe they're ill, then they're going to be ill. And so it was conflicting for me. It's sort of like, well, what if you're doing it quote or without saying anything, without changing anything in them, then so for that moment they're not ill, but they will be ill again if they believe they're ill.
Right. So what holds you back from stating the truth?
Not that it's stating the truth, but it's it felt like there's a lot of push to heal people, to do that, and it's sort of like I know the truth, but I don't feel like I need to heal anybody.
Right. Right. I feel like I'm missing something. But so what are you saying?
When I was reading 7, I kept hearing her say to heal people.
Heal. Right.
And that was conflicting for me, because I don't believe that I don't believe I'm healing someone if I claim them to be healthy in that moment. If they believe they're ill, they will be ill.
Right, but that's their issue, so to speak.
So
ours is to believe the truth for them.
But I get it.
No, I understand it too. Go ahead.
She's talking about,
Emma?
Emma's talking,
Okay.
yeah. Emma and I are on a first name basis these days. Emma is talking about that the feeling, the intention behind it is pure health. just like in our spiritual mind treatments, that is, and I'm holding that space. But unless the other person buys into it, they are not to be healed. But then she goes on to say that, you know, if you are doing a healing for the 4th time on somebody, then it's perhaps something within you that is not authentic. So it's how much of it is the other person versus, you know, I mean, that's the question for me, is that, you know, it's all about my own personal belief. And if I'm coming to you for a healing, then obviously I don't think I'm healthy and whole.
Right.
But, and at some point, I mean, she's taking it on herself as this is, or you're taking it on yourself as it's your responsibility to heal me.
I understand what you're saying. I
Yeah.
do, and I understand what appears to be the paradox and what you're looking at. Yes, Breezy.
It seems to be, to me, it kind of, between the two is resolved in the last paragraph where it says, so we make a practice of praising everybody and everything, and above all expressing daily appreciation for all, that God works through Spirit. As you continue to do so, you'll find that those who come to you are easily healed. Soon your patients will be healed before they arrive. Then you will never see any sick people. And the secret of healing is more and more becoming the inheritance of the world.
That doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yes? Thank you,
This
Breezy.
quote has come up in my head, and I know it's a quote from some book. There is nothing to heal, only wholeness to reveal.
Right.
And that really hit me earlier this week, and it goes into chapter 8, because I saw a problem somewhere, and I wanted to help, and I realized afterwards that I saw the problem, not the wholeness.
Right.
And that's, I think, what we're all talking about. And it really, that one hit me really over the head. It's so hard for me at times to look at, you know, okay, she's got a black sweater on and her hand is like that, and to see beyond that, beyond the appearance, beyond the effect to the wholeness and completeness.
That's the key right there.
Yeah.
And that's why Emma has us always going back to ourselves in order to identify what the real issue is.
Yeah.
And so you're like, what is your fear? What holds you back from believing that that person that just walked up to you is perfect? And I'm looking at that word perfect lately. I'm not quite sure I want to be using that word anymore, because perfection exists differently everywhere.
Complete.
Was that you?
Try complete.
Try complete. Who was it that was talking to me about the word perfect?
It wasn't me.
Well,
but it
John
drives
doesn't
me
like the
nuts.
word perfect.
Yeah, I don't
John,
like it
I think
anymore.
it was you who mentioned it to me, and then it came up again somewhere else. That's where it started. It was you. Yeah.
It's your fault.
It was your interpretation of what John said.
Perfect is
So
an
I've been-
interpretation of the person saying perfect.
Yeah.
Right,
So it's an arbitrary thing that you can't ever reach, and
exactly.
so just knowing that they are God expressing.
Right.
Right.
There is a wholeness and a completeness to them as that presence. But the thing is, it's like we have to go back, and it's like, what holds us back from that? That's where she begins at chapter 7, is what is holding you back. And then she also says throughout the book that we're all human, and so we always need to go back. It's not like we're going to just zoom forward. Perhaps that would be wonderful. I would like to zoom so far forward that I'm not experiencing what I've been experiencing this week. But I know that's in the past, and I'm in a new place right now. And so, but what holds you back, right? Yes.
Well, I think when you talk about healing, for me, it's a lot easier, or it's a lot harder the closer I am to someone. because there's all kinds of stories and there's all kinds of judgment. It's a lot easier for someone that I don't have a relationship with or I don't have stories about to look at them and know that they are whole and healed and complete.
Right.
But when it's someone who's closer, who I have relationships with and judgments about and all that, it becomes more challenging to do that.
Okay. I think that's true, because we know more. Sometimes we know too much. And how do you work at letting go of that?
It's a struggle.
How do we do that, though? Let's not focus on the difficulty of it. Let's talk about how we can get past it. When we feel like we know maybe too much and we can't let go of that belief, then where do we go?
I've never had that, so I don't know.
Well, some
Pardon?
teachers,
I've never had that, so I don't know.
some teachers don't recommend that you don't treat for someone if you have too much of that sort of thing, that you just don't, you just know that that's not for you to do.
Right. Emma would say, this is true, they do, that we need to recognize when we have that capability within ourselves. So it goes back to being within ourselves. What is stopping you from recognizing that wholeness and divinity in them? What is it in you? What is the fear? What's the blockage? Always go back to you, because it's never anyone else. It's always your perception of what that is. Always.
Well, if I can let go of the story around myself, and I know the stories of myself the most, and I can treat for myself.
What was that last part?
Like, I know the stories of myself the most. Like the
Right.
stuff that I've made up about what's going on.
Right.
Then if I can let go of myself, how do I do it for myself? Then I apply that to the other person. Like, if my stories aren't true about myself, then they're probably not true about somebody else.
Right. Exactly. And that whole perception thing, we might perceive someone as poor and homeless and unemployed, when in truth they may be gainfully employed, choosing to wear those kind of clothes and stand on a street corner anyway. Right? We don't know unless we go up and we talk to them. But the point is, for Emma, I believe, is not to carry that judgment and stop where that blockage is and take it back to you. Yes.
I think it's like what you said, you just have to recognize that it's all a story. I may know you from the time I was 5, but all of that's a story that I made up. I've never been in your mind. I may have seen what happened. I don't know if it was, well, it was all for your benefit. I don't know how. And I just have to get back to that space of knowing you're just another expression of God and you're perfect.
Right.
And it's really talking to myself to say, all of that was just a story. It doesn't mean anything. What means something is that they're God, and that I recognize that, and I know their perfection. So it's a lot of working with myself to convince myself that I'm not buying into their story and the one that I've created around them.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
And
I think
for
you
me,
said that in a nutshell. Yeah.
When I see a situation like that, and I do see the judgment of other persons in pain or in poverty or whatever, that I know that they are living, that they are experiencing that because that's what they need to help them remember who they are.
Right. Right. And this is exactly what Emma says. She says, acknowledge, like logically take these thoughts back to the source, walk it through back until you know that it comes back to the divine. Right? There you have it. But the point is to be self-reflective, I think, and acknowledging that everything around us starts with you. Your thought creates your reality. Yes? Oh.
It's probably kind of trivial, but even if you know somebody's story, normally you only know half of anything.
Right.
You only know their side of the story, what you've seen. You don't, like you said, that you haven't been in their mind or in their body or walked in their shoes, so.
Yeah. Any other comments on that? Because that is chapter 7, is, you know, coming to these points and then starting to reflect back to yourself so that you can go forward again with greater consciousness. Yes?
I like to think of it as vibration.
Mm.
So if we on Sunday get the vibration of the bowls,
Mhm.
get the complete vibration, and we can feel that vibration in another person, it's much easier to bring it back home because it's what you're vibrating.
Right. That's true. So the question is, when we're working with someone that we're not vibrating at the same frequency,
It's your job to hold the vibration.
it's your job to hold the vibration. How do you like that?
I like that.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. How's your meditation going now that we're talking about vibration? Is everyone doing reading, writing, meditating in the morning?
Sporadically.
Do you suppose that, I just wonder, hypothetically say, that if we were, we wouldn't be experiencing these kind of questions at this point in the class?
I agree.
I'm just thinking.
You're just vibrating.
I'm just vibrating. Yes.
Yes and no, because I
Okay.
find that my best time is closer to 10, 11 in the morning.
Mhm.
And no matter how hard I try when I first wake up, I'm just not here.
Right.
So I found the time that works for me, and then I can do the steps. They may not be in that order, but I get much more out of it, but I still have questions.
Mhm.
Well, either, and you all know now, by now, I either come here so excited over something new I found, or I just don't get it. But that's okay, because I'm studying, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, working towards something.
I think finding the time for yourself is what is the most important thing. But
Yeah.
I think that they encourage us to start it in the morning and then work your way to where you want to be, where you feel most comfortable.
Yeah, and
As
first
long
thing,
as you're doing a spiritual practice that's consistent and that takes you to a higher vibration.
yeah, first thing in the morning is just, that's the worst time of day to do it to me.
There is no
You're not
worse
awake
than
at
the
I,
first
I
thing.
said to me.
Uh-huh, yeah.
For me, I am doing the reading, writing, and meditation, and I think that the questions come out of that I am processing it. It's not that I don't really understand everything I'm reading, but the questions actually come. It means that I am actually trying to process it and get it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, questions are the best. I love questions. Anyone else want to comment on that? On your own spiritual practice and how you're doing? Okay. Oh, no, you're just, I thought that peripheral vision on hand races is honed. Yeah. So let's move on to chapter 8. But before I do, I want to do a shout out to Mary Lou, because she called me right before class and said that she watches every tape, even though she's not able to be here. And that's the second phone call I've had about this class, and that people are watching it. And that both people have said, please speak up so that the microphone catches you, because you guys, the class, is what they're listening to, not only me, right? And I really do think that's true. We learn from each other. So, shout out, and we'll see you soon.
And speak up.
And hello to folks, and we're going to do our best to speak up. So, I went into chapter 8, and this is what I wrote. And I don't even know, because I prep, and I read it, and then I read it in here so that I can have the right page numbers. We're pretty much for breezy. And also, it just gives me a different format to read the same material. And so then I just start writing. And I don't know what page this came out of or not, but it says, be not deceived by appearances about others. Know the truth. Approach your own afflictions head on. Take back to the cause. Know the truth. And then it says, live by principle. Reason all cause back to the truth. Right? Which is exactly what we've been talking about. But so chapter 8 just takes chapter 7 and keeps going on about the same thing. And she says, I also write, lesson 8 is about light in freedom. And I'm not quite sure why I wrote that. Maybe I was in one of those vibratory states as I was writing. Because I read and I just start writing. So lesson 8 is about light and freedom. It's treatment. It's the treatment method is positive thought. It's any positive thought. Right? And the more we work on our thought process and where our thoughts come from and how they got so enculturated into our brains so that those words, like Christy used to, remember how Christy used to just, Christy Corner, former assistant minister, used to pick on us about the words we would use. She would, you know, if I said, this is the worst time for me, she'd go, worst time? Like, maybe you want to rephrase that? Find a different word for that? Because our language states our being and it states our reality. And because it's our thoughts. Our language is our thought process out loud. And that's what sets intention. We have the best intent in our head, and then we turn around and say, yeah, get out of my way, you're driving too slow. I'm peaceful. I'm listening to Amy, you know. And then I'm, you know, flipping the bird at someone on the freeway. Next, just that quickly, boom, boom. And these things come out of my mouth. And I know that it's part of that enculturated pattern I have. And acculturated because of all the you know, drivers out there that aren't as aware as I would like them to be.
You know what I started doing specifically about driving is all of a sudden, when I drive, for some reason I think about politics, and it makes me angry. And I've gotten to where I'll just like, okay, this is wrong. So that's a beautiful sunset, or you know, look at the trees and nature and stuff around while you're driving, which will immediately bring me out of the anger and frustration that the politics and the driving does.
Mm-hmm. I totally get that. I do. I do that. Yeah. And I'm blessed that I get to drive west every day in the fall, and I see those mountain slopes just covered in the most beautiful, gorgeous colors. And in the winter, I'll get to see them capped with snow that we don't get in Asheville. It's really, really quite beautiful. And then I'm like, what are you doing? But I know that that's, you know, a short-lived behavior on my part. So it's gone already. It's gone. So I just found it. Lights in the firmament. It's on page 113 in my book. And that makes it... Pardon?
111 in ours.
111 in yours.
118 on mine.
Okay, excellent. Lights in the firmament, and it says firmament. It says the 8th lesson is about light. It's about freedom.
There you go.
See, it's from Emma. And you cannot bottle it up. You cannot hide a flame under a bushel. It burns the bushel and makes an even greater light. You cannot quench it by confining it. The doctrine of metaphysical science is an unquenchable light, and as you go over the lessons, sometimes along the way, you will catch the fire of the Holy Spirit and begin to live the doctrine. The righteous shall shine like the sea. I love that.
Awesome.
I love that. I would love to be a beacon in the night like that, you know, like a lighthouse.
Well, you are.
Yeah, you are.
You are already.
Yes, she is. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I think that we're all, you know, that we're all in a process of growth and attainment. Always. That's why we're human, until we vibrate off this plane. right? That's what our purpose is here, is to learn and grow. Can only get better. So, anything about that? Are you the light?
I am.
Are you the light?
I am.
Are you the light?
I am.
Linda, are you the light?
Yes, I am.
Katie?
Yes, I am.
Breezy, are you the light?
I'm sorry?
Are you the light?
Of what?
The light of the universe, the light of all souls, the light that shines.
Whatever makes you happy.
No, are you?
I don't really know what context I was reading, I'm sorry.
Okay. We're talking about that Emma Curtis Hopkins says that we are the light. And I'm just asking you, do you feel like you are the light?
No, I'm not really sure the context, so I don't really know.
Okay, hang on to that, because
Okay.
I know that there's that kind of division, that's not division, this kind of divinity thing for you. So let's
Okay.
hang on to you, and I'll come back to you.
Okay.
I got you. Keep reading. Fran, are you the light?
I believe I'm the light.
Yes. Say, I am.
Yes, I am the light.
Laura,
Yes, I am.
the light?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Laura?
Yes,
Laura,
I am, the
Laura.
light and freedom.
V?
Yes, I am, the light and freedom.
Yes.
I am the light. I am the light and freedom.
Yes, I am the light.
Nina?
And often in the circle in front, say I am brilliant. That's how bright I am.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you
All
are.
right. I love that. So, Breezy, I'm coming back to you.
Okay.
Okay. So, she says on that page, I think you said it was 118 for you?
Yeah, 118 for me.
Okay. That that this whole chapter is about light and freedom.
Yeah.
And as we walk our way through this spiritual program, we become more and more aware of who we are. And what we know is that we are God. And that we become that reflection or that vibration for others. And I was asking people if they feel that they are that light through that kind of vibration and knowledge.
We are spirit, yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think spirit shines. And I believe the spirit shines through you. So I see you as a light.
Okay. Whatever makes you happy.
That makes me happy.
Okay.
So, okay. So, I'm just wondering, are you comfortable saying I am spirit?
Oh, yeah, I just wrote it. We are spirit.
Will you share that with us?
We are spirit. Just
Thank you for
That's
your...
what I wrote.
I had the Barbara thing. Say I am, not we are, because that's all of us.
Well, this is my notes.
I know. But take ownership for you are spirit.
Okay.
So can you say it again? I am spirit?
I am spirit.
Okay.
I just,
Yes,
she
you
asked me to,
are.
she asked me to share what I wrote. No, we are spirits, what I wrote.
But
like
we
that,
is, we
This is my notes. It has nothing to do with declaration. This is my notes.
It's okay. Yeah.
What's interesting that April brought up is the one thing that I noticed as I'm writing my notes, that I started using, wherever it says you or they, I started putting in I.
Yes.
And as I go through my notes, it says I am and it just happened.
Yeah.
Like, and it really is helpful. I'm beginning to own it, I guess. Sometimes I trip over it, but yeah.
Well, when I write affirmations, I definitely use I, but I wasn't writing affirmations. I was taking notes.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So what I would like to do right now before we move into 9, and that's, of course it's up to you because I know there are so many people that are resistant to working in pairs or threesomes type of thing. Would you guys, are you open to doing that tonight?
That's fine.
Working with each other? Okay. Are you open to doing that? Do you wanna just do it by table? Table, 3, 2?
Okay.
Or we could have Linda work with B, and that would equal it out to another pair. That would work. Is that good? Linda?
Sure.
B?
Okay.
Okay. Why don't you come on over here? Linda, kind of scoot over this way a little bit. Give a little bit more space between.
I don't know.
You know what? I think though we're going to break up the married couple over here.
They just start there and go by 2.
Selena, would you work with Michael?
Sure.
Great. Come over and work with Nina. Great.
So what are we doing?
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you in just a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you need
Surprise.
something. You may need something to write.
Okay.
I think, right, how are you, right?
Some people like to take notes like that. Hey, you do that in treatment center.
Me too.
Okay.
no way to get through.
I really appreciate you doing this because I avoid doing it in my. You are silent. This is what I'd like you to do. I would like you to share with each other, decide who's going first. Who's going first?
Fran? No. Apparently I am.
So the person here.
Are you going first or am I? Doesn't matter. Okay, no, you go.
Okay, we're deciding who goes first. So the ambiguity has no place here. So, because it doesn't. So, oh, that's a whole different thing. Now I'm here. Okay, so this is what I'd like. I'd like the people who are going second to listen. Just listen, right? And be aware of any kind of thing that comes up for you. But the people who are talking first, I want you to really think about what's your greatest obstacle to overcome to becoming this type of healer that Emma's talking about. Where do you, what's that wall you come up against? It might be a fear, it might be a thought, it might be something I'm
To become what now?
To become a healer, according to Emma Curtis Hopkins.
Okay.
Before we go on, let's stop and identify that. And the person who's listening, walk through to the logical truth of what that is, and just hold that truth for the person who's talking. And don't try to rationalize it away. We're all human. I mean, we all have our faults. So just be honest with each other. What is that obstacle? What is it that's stopping you from spiritual practice, from knowing the truth that everyone is God, from being the light? Whatever is it. Who's ever going first? Take a moment and identify what one of the things is in terms of that for you, and then just share it with the other person. And remember, you're not responding, you're just listening with love.
I'm just still confused.
I'll come over there.
Okay.
Mine would be.
Would you want me to turn this off or leave it go?
No, you can leave it going.
Okay, just check. I'm still not really sure. I don't understand what she wants.
Like my son, like half hour.
We're going for it. I don't know what obstacles. I'm just trying to understand what topic, because what you said, obstacles too, the things that you said, obstacles too. I don't really have obstacles, so I'm
This right here, when you express this kind of confusion, it stops you from moving very that would be a
Review
that's something that no, listen, I would love
something new.
because you're picking, you're trying to find the exact thing for the
Type
truth. And I would say that kind of like struggle for you is part of your obstacle. Just relax, know the truth of who you are.
I don't know, that was just what came up for me.
So,
Thank you for being honest. I don't really know what else to look
I
at.
guess now I listen to you, or?
If that makes you, we can go ahead. I know that you agree. It's my biggest fear, my biggest fear. Some of the things that we said here is that I'm not smart enough to all those things. So for me, it's to not do it at all, then it's and I know, like, it's confused, but I've been told so much, like, for this right here. And like, well, then we're trying to back. And with Curtis Hopkins and
always that we are aware that we are we've taken our consciousness.
It's easier sometimes to try it. I don't know God. I know that I don't put so much energy into it.
I know that. So what is your thought process?
Yeah, my first fear is for you.
Because I always.
We all
I was trying to understand.
yeah, so for me, like, different fears come up.
I mean,
I know I have
That was not me.
Those are, I don't have issues with everybody else.
No, that's exactly what we're talking about. What is your,
Name one.
I know, but it's.
Right.
Name an issue for you that stops you.
Yeah, he is self-working.
Then you tell her, and she's just gonna go
have learning
through
disabilities
without
when I
saying
was in school.
Okay.
So
Is
that
that
was
okay?
good. And I've taken that. I just wasn't sure as my
It's not that no one would criticize you, it's,
you weren't.
I'm just gonna ask you just to keep talking until you feel like a natural wind down. And just keep looking at them with love and listening.
So this works because I know everybody
Remember, we're not dialoguing.
Yeah, I do a lot. I've been doing a lot of denials.
Yeah, no, we're not. Just listening. Just listening to the one person share.
Because it does.
It's hard, isn't it?
That's half the battle. Mine is issues about me, but not about me doing anything to anybody else, because everybody's already doing it.
We don't want to be out of place.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop, and I'm gonna restate that as we switch, that we're not dialoguing. We're not dialoguing. We're just listening and knowing the truth for the other person, but not dialoguing.
We didn't think so.
Okay, there are several people who are dialoguing. So I thought I would just say that out loud. Because this is one of the things, it's hard just to hold the truth and be silent and listen and give people all of your attention. Let's reverse. Let's go the other direction now. All right? Same thing.
Question again?
Same question. Oh, repeat the question. What is it that you feel stops you from becoming the light or becoming that healer, that Emma Curtis Hopkins, from having a spiritual practice or from any of the things we've been talking about? What is your fear? What is your obstacle?
One of my big obstacles is
But if that works for you, that's what it is. So I'm just like,
When I work.
one of the sweetest girls that I've met. That's like one of the highest values.
It takes me a while to get back to the I felt myself everybody's in workshop after workshop.
He's a shark.
Take about another 30 seconds and find out. Okay. Okay, so let's come back, take out a piece of paper. And I would like you to write an affirmation for yourself about the thing you just talked about. Walk it back to the truth of spirit and write an affirmation for yourself about what you just shared. For yourself. You're going to write an affirmation for yourself about what you just shared. Not about your partner. You just held them in love. I want you to write an affirmation for what you shared with them about for yourself. What is the truth of what you shared?
Can we use a denial and then an affirmation?
What works for you? That works great. Yeah, that's what Emma suggests. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good? People still need a minute?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so hang on to these, because we're gonna come back to them later tonight before we end, but let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. Well done.
No, this does match up perfectly. That where he, yeah, this is like a little bit more explained than what's in here. But her bread and butter was 12 lessons. I don't have a third book by her, and the lessons don't match up the same, but again, it's 12 lessons.
Do you need anything? Okay.
I see.
Too many years of.
There's more cake, I'll touch some more. I side ordered, we were coming back from a card game on Sunday.
Think about it as if we were saying it to somebody else.
Did you
Did
try
you
to
say something like that to somebody else to call
Oh,
yours?
Tuesday when I went to the
They, when I was but they did find
That,
something.
I would say that to you.
Some
So even with his hands, I was feeling
Pretty good now, I got some rest.
after.
Feeling it.
and maybe it's like a very something when they're returning next to the recovery.
Yeah, but whenever somebody says anything nice, and I finally got over that, being embarrassed or whatever, because
But I know.
basically you're embarrassing them because they're embarrassing you.
Right.
And so you don't want to, do that. That's not pleasant for them. And so just say thank you and move on if you have a hard time dealing with it. You know.
I was just thinking about, they get real involved in their whole story and then it's sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of been hard to see people as,
She did it really well.
Yeah, I
Spice, usually spice
for a long
cooking
time
is like,
the HIV
it's usually a lot of
helping people get disability. Yeah, it's something that helped them realize what the disability auditors were looking for. And I could always say, be that person that doesn't have insurance, that one of those, that doesn't know this person, and it has to make that kind of decision.
what are you looking for?
Nothing, I was thinking about gratitude. There's just I was asking, I wonder if I could.
Sure.
And you just come there every week. We don't talk about
Add or to my documentation.
book or something.
I forgot that. They'll know it from our.
Yeah, well, the only thing you gotta do is propose to the barber. And most of these circles started because somebody proposed. That's how most of them started.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's been on my mind.
Yeah, and what, if she okays it, is like put it in the weekly newsletter, people who are interested, and your phone number or email for them to contact you. And then once they contact you, figure out, as a group, figure out when would be good to meet.
There's no why, it's
And then
just
go from
if
there.
you
That's usually-
provide it in, then I need to see where.
But yeah, that'd be cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think it really helped a lot of growth, not
Yeah,
just for me, but for everybody.
sure.
Man, this is really, really good.
I was trying to,
Breezy.
No, I
Who
didn't.
made this?
Linda?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she said there's more in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's so good. We started doing
Mike, did I email you the information? Okay,
Let me give you my
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, I didn't feel a need to do that. I got to speak to Anne and her daughter, so that was all I needed. Yes.
Yeah, that's the.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now it's like, now it's just moving down.
No, I didn't. Time. It was a trick on the road trying to get into North.
You're on.
Okay, so anyway, it all comes back to us. And so the affirmation that you just wrote takes you back to the source, which takes us right into chapter 9. Because I'm just going to repeat it for the people who are watching this on video, is that although Emma Curtis Hopkins says the first 6 lessons are all about you and raising your awareness, the second 6 lessons are about healing the consciousness, right? The second 6 lessons are really all about you, healing the consciousness. And so really it's a lot of repetition with little bits of nuggets and things that might grab each individual person differently. And but what we did was, with sharing it, acknowledging an obstacle, taking it back to source through the affirmation, hopefully brought you back to the point of I am, which is chapter 9. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am the highest God. I am the innermost God. The innermost God and the highest God are one God. And I am that divine spirit. I am that light. I am happiness. I am joy. I am wealth. I am abundance. I am health. All of those things we are. Yes. Yes, say. Yes, we are.
Yes, I am. Always.
Hallelujah.
She said.
Effectiveness comes with letting the goodness of the merciful and the tender speak instead of your condemning tendencies. Wherever anything appears to be evil, how much of that humanity comes from your thinking about the wrongdoings? Your thinking of the wrongdoings of others or your own. How much are you condemning yourself for your behaviors? For anything. It's right on page 125 in chapter 9. It's right after, it's in the middle of it, before recognition and acknowledgement.
Wait a minute.
Ours is 123.
It might be. We all have different.
Mine's 131.
So, she goes on to say there, if you feel as though you ought to be protecting yourself from others, either financially or as to your reputation, stop and think over this lesson. You must not put up umbrellas against things which do not exist. By this I mean, if God is your world, what is there to fear? So if you are stopping, if something is going on and you're afraid of something, if you feel like you need to protect yourself financially because of the election, or because, oh my God, stock market's going to go down, because it doesn't matter who gets elected, it always goes down right after an election. So if you have those kind of enculturated tendencies, race culture, right, race consciousness thoughts, then that is definitely what's going to happen. But she says if you have those kind of fears and those kind of thoughts, take them back to the source, because if you're at the source, you don't need that kind of thought. That thought shouldn't exist. Makes sense to me, right? So as a, like my own example for me as an out lesbian working, and here we go. Boy, this is one to choose. Working at a small college in Western Carolina, everyone knows, no one says anything, right? If I say, you know, girlfriend, they're like, it doesn't matter if I'm just talking about a friend. As soon as I mention a woman's name, they're like, oh no, what's going to come out next? Did they go on vacation? You know, are they celebrating an anniversary? And this is my fear, right? This is my perception, because I see something in their face, and so I'm like, start playing pronoun roulette, you know, they, never a gender, never a female name, and because that's what makes them comfortable, right? But that's my fear. And as more I perpetuate my fear, they don't get an opportunity to grow. They can stay in their own fear around their lack of awareness. What I perceive as lack of awareness, maybe they're just looking at me going, God, I wish you would just come out. I wish you would just say it, poor thing. Right? Because what we go back to is that this is my story, and I have no idea what they're really thinking.
My thing is, why does anybody care?
People care about a lot of things that I question, but that's their story, right? That's their story, and I don't know what their story is or why they care, and that's not my business.
Yeah.
My business is to hold the light for me, to be that light. So if you feel as though you ought to be protecting yourself from others, either financially or as to your reputation, stop and think over this lesson. Stop and think over this lesson specifically, lesson 9. Why do you think that is? What does that mean to you? This lesson brings to our speech the I am that glows with unquenchable might at the center of every living being. So why do we go back over this lesson?
Because it's so hard for us to absorb.
Okay, maybe that's it.
I'm talking about me, not, I don't know about anybody else, but we were talking about that. I have not gotten past the fact that I still think I have feet of clay.
Mm-hmm.
So, saying, and when you were stuttering over, you are the light, a lot of us, and me, I mean, I have trouble with saying I am the light.
Okay.
And you can pound it into my head that I'm supposed to know that, and it's a should, but it's not a done thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a practice. It's just a practice, and we all move at that pace of our own awareness. It's good. That you're here is a change in that I am. Don't you feel that?
Yeah, it feels like it's knocking on the door, and then I'm a little thick-headed.
And you're looking through the people, or you've got the chain on it and you're looking out like that?
One or the other, yeah.
One day that chain will come off. You're a light on this world. Right?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Yes. So, back to the question.
Okay, did you read this sentence above?
I may not have.
I just think that is so.
I don't know which sentence you're speaking of.
Up in the next the above paragraph where it says, the last sentence in that paragraph says, learn that there is a divine harmony between the mind out of which the true world is springing and your own mind. Such harmony that you yourself are that mighty and good mind.
Mm-hmm.
And all the sting of all that seems to be hurtful shall be removed. I mean, that just really speaks to me.
I agree. I have that underlined with a star next to it.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, that's always true.
What page is that on?
123.
Mine's 125.
It's above the paragraph where it says effectiveness comes, that's in italics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's the last sentence of the previous paragraph.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, to say that it takes the sting out of all that seems to be hurtful, that, to me, that just speaks volumes.
Yes.
And this lesson reminds us of who we are
Mhm.
at the very core. I mean, I don't know that another lesson that I underlined and highlighted as much as I did. Actually, I have a couple of question marks too, but still, I mean, this whole lesson is about being authentically whole and divine.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
And going on vacation with whoever you damn well pleased to go on.
exactly.
So, she also says, right before that, on page 124, is there's nothing more miserable than to feel that by some mistake in life you have not amounted to what you might have, and that your misfortune all hinge on that mistake. Do you all know that paragraph? You're all with there?
Yeah,
I know that feeling.
Do you all have that feeling? Have you had that feeling in the past? This is what I believe. I bring that up because I believe this is what Thomas Troward's talking about when he says principle is not bound by precedent. And I believe that she is saying the same thing. And if the lineage is true, they were saying this at essentially the same time, which makes it pretty profound since he was on a different continent. Right?
It's all one.
I love that. Don't you?
I love it all.
I love it all too. But that they were both saying essentially the same thing, essentially around the same time. And that principle is not bound by precedent. But she says, but though a mistake may seem to be much, in truth it is nothing. And that it's the same concept, that if we believe that we have set the precedent by making the mistake, then that's where we land, and that has dictated our life. When in fact, it has only landed there and given us an opportunity to move forward on a different path. So we choose, if you choose. And this is the path. So I think you're absolutely right, that it takes us there, takes us back to that perceived mistake, and then has us say, no, this is not who I am. This is not who I am. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Oh, gosh. That's another tangent, forget it. I'm full of them today. I took 2 days off of work. You can see what it does to me. I think a lot. How many of you saw Les Miserables?
No.
And Russell Crowe is standing on the precipice of that bridge and he's saying,
Oh, I haven't
who
seen
am
the
I?
movie.
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm Jean Valjean.
Jean Valjean.
Jean Valjean, and then his choice is to leave the world at that point. Did he move to a higher plane, recognizing who he was in terms of forgiveness? That's what I've always thought, right? And I have a friend who's like, no, he's committed suicide out of shame. And I'm like, do you really think so? He claimed who he was before he died. Isn't that what we're doing? Claiming who we are?
Yeah.
I think he elevated himself and allowed himself to go without the judgment of the person he'd been chasing. Anyway, that's what, whenever, I play that movie and I go to that scene because it's almost heartbreaking. It's kind of like, wow.
I haven't seen it as a movie yet. I've only seen the musical.
As
So.
the courage that takes to claim who you are and then to decide the path that you're going to take, whatever that path is, right? At the level of our awareness. It's powerful, powerful play, powerful book, powerful movie. So anyway, that's where that took me.
April's got a question.
Okay,
Yes.
before we move on, the very next paragraph, the second sentence, so if you have expressed some strong negative emotion or violent words, fear not, they are not truth, and so have no power. As Jesus blasted the fig tree with no negative results, so you can never experience any fruits to bring hurt or misfortune from such momentary slips.
Right.
I have a big question mark about that.
Okay. Does everyone know exactly where April is?
No.
Yes, it says remember is the first word of the paragraph. Remember,
It
comma.
starts, remember Jesus taught.
Okay.
Right?
So, that's, I mean, Science of Mind teaches us that all of our words are creative.
Mm-hmm.
Emma supports that.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she's saying that so you can never experience any fruit to bring harm or misfortune from such momentary slips.
I think what she's saying is just one, just one casual thought is not gonna bring forth a calamity. I mean, you've got to repeat the thoughts over and over and over and over. You have to repeat, I have to repeat, if I wanna manifest something, I have to repeat that thought over and over and over.
Yeah, because it does say momentary slips.
I can't expect just to say it one time. I mean, it's possible, anything's possible, but from experience, I've found that it has to be repeated.
It depends on the enthusiasm behind it, right?
Mm-hmm. And the belief system. Right. But if you have the belief system, then that thought is negative and it slips out, that it's the belief that brings the passion with it. So I like what you said, is that one casual thought is not going to create calamity. I like that a lot. It's better than, oh, you get a moment of grace or that kind of thing. Because as soon as you recognize that you can change it.
Yeah, just like Barbara says, okay, you had a thought, have a different thought.
Right.
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 And we don't have to beat ourselves up because we had one negative thought.
Right. Exactly. Or made a mistake in the past, because the past is gone.
What appeared to be a mistake.
What appeared
Because
to our perception
Emma
of a
says that
mistake.
there can never be any mistakes in spirit.
That's right.
So we're spirit.
It feels like a shift in perception, and, Jesus said, it's done unto you as you believe. If you do your slip and then you beat yourself up, your belief is, negative, and you're in that downward spiral. If you slip up and then you go one casual, can I say it again? I like that.
Thought is not going to lead to calamity.
One casual thought does not create calamity.
Yeah.
So, you're shifting in your mind and the energy that is around that belief. And so instead of going in a downward spiral, you're like, oh well, and move on,
Right. And know who you are.
And know who you are.
Right. And know who you are.
So if I hear you right, if you beat yourself over the mistake, it's being done unto you as you believe.
Right.
Okay.
And that next paragraph, it says magnetic gladness of heart attracts gladness of heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Therefore, the joy of the Lord is your strength.
And that's being done unto you as you believe, because you're like, oh, no big deal. And so nothing shows up.
Right. So in that sense, it comes us to a more modern way of looking at it when we say, have no regrets, right? Don't have any regrets, because whatever choices and whatever path you chose led you here today, to right now, tonight. And how can you regret that? And if you regret that, don't come back next time. I guess. I can't control your regret. But so you have no regrets, right? And I used to say I have one regret, and it was this tattoo on this arm, because I feel like it held me back professionally somewhat. And then it was like, I'm pretty successful, really. If that really is what my thought was, it didn't have much bearing. And so it was all in my head, right? So I wore long sleeves and jackets all summer long because of it, right? So I just put myself at a disadvantage. But I think that's what those beliefs do, is that they hold us back at a disadvantage until we recognize them and move forward. And that's 9.
And that first paragraph on the joy-filled life is really good.
Say it out loud, Brucey.
The law of listening is the law of joy. Words caught from above always have healing and uplifting power. Thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of my heart. Our joy is quickened from hearing the vitalizing truth. The joy that comes from being in direct communication with the I am increases us.
Yes. The whole chapter is full of those kind of little things. Recognition and acknowledgement are the two law from which something must come forth. The old I gives way as we recognize the new, and I decree becomes our new song. I love that one too. I love this whole chapter. Like April said, I think this is, it's almost like I could have just taken a thing. The violets don't strain and struggle to be in harmony with their life. The mountains don't groan and labor to be great. The hurricanes and monsoons do their mighty tasks easily. Nor do we, because we are spirit, need to think of life as hard. Because we are spirit, we do that which our own wisdom prompts us to do, laying no burdens on others out of our ideas. That's the paragraph right below for guidelines for treatment in this chapter.
Okay. Thank you.
At the end of effortlessness. That's amazing when we can really believe that about ourselves. And that's what this chapter is. Come back to you. Come back to the truth of who we are before we move forward to the last 3 chapters. And so, how would you like to end the affirmations? Because everyone's is going to be slightly different. Do you want to say, yes you are, or do you want to say something different, like, you are loved? Or do you want to say something else? Does someone have an idea? And I'm going to ask each of you to read your affirmation that you wrote earlier.
Yes, you are seems to work.
For all of them. What?
And so it is.
So it, how about so it is?
And so it is.
And so it
Because
is.
the people may not have a yes you are type of frame to it. Okay, and so it is.
Okay.
Are you ready?
And so it is.
And
So it is.
All right, let's make it so. You know what that's from Star Trek.
Yes, it is.
Engage.
Okay, who would like to start us off? And let's all stand.
Resistance.
Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I know that I am spirit in form and formless. The whole of me is divine light and vibration.
And so it is.
Nice.
I'll go. There is no time. I am doing everything that I need to do to shine my light. Nothing can hold me back from being the light.
And so it is.
Get some energy in here.
Yeah.
Work on the jazz.
I rise above the pain that others experience and know and hold the truth that there is no pain.
And so it is.
There is no such thing as failure in spirit. I am successful in all my endeavors.
And so it is.
Old beliefs and patterns no longer have any power over me. My good is intelligence and wisdom, omnipresent. This truth fills me with joy as I accept that I am spirit. There is no rejection in oneness. I am one with my good, with spirit, eternally, unconditionally, and inseparably.
And so it is. I am perfect, whole, and complete.
And
so it is.
I am a beacon of light and truth.
And so it is.
I know that Spirit and I are one.
And so it is.
I am focused and productive every day.
And so it is.
I am spirit, I am healer, I am light.
And so it is.
I know that change is something to be embraced and that my light will be fully realized as I celebrate and honor change.
And so it is.
I have time and energy to feed my spirit.
And so it is.
I am powerful, I am magnificent, being my greatest self is safe, comfortable, and exhilarating. I am confident.
And so it is.
I am kind, respected, and well-liked. I am spirit.
And so it is.
I am the fullness of life in ease and grace.
And so it is.
And I am blessed with love and self-expression.
And so it is.
And so it is. And so let's go ahead and do the offering. And you can sit if you choose.
Thank you.
And what I do know is that everything, as always, that goes into this basket goes out and touches so many lives. And that grace, that love, that joy is present everywhere and in everything. It's present in money, it's present in touch, it's present in our health, it's present in our relationships. It is all one thing, it's all one mind. And together we say,
and so it is.
So tonight, let's end with this one phrase from Emma. It says, look to your heart, seek harmony, know you're good, know you are the good, you are the mighty. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Read 9 and 10, huh?